changes on the paper here. So all this process is actually taking out a lot of their productivity and time, and also increasing defects. So what ITXOTIC wants to do is, we're trying to be a B2B business here. We're not a very technologies and consumer company. We want to go into a space where we can actually supply technology like AI, like IoT to factories. So what I do is that create a solution using local talent that can develop these kind of technologies that can automate a lot of the work that you saw just now. The scanning will be done using AI for these parts, and then the parts will then automatically trigger all the information and make sure that they're all being updated accordingly using IoT. Where are we going to try to focus? Right now, there's Industry Forward, which is a new MITI policy. There's actually 3 billion ringgit worth of revenue that's, funding that's supposed to be given to companies in SME Indonesia. There's about 49,000 of these manufacturers in Malaysia alone. Where we want to start is actually in the automotive manufacturing space. We believe that if we can create this technology fast enough, we should be able to supply to the manufacturers that has access to this funding to allow us to go after market. Our solution is actually a B2B solution, like I said. We are going to be competing against foreign multinationals who sell solutions at above 100K or beyond. Our pricing idea is actually to be very competitive at around maybe 20,000 ringgit per camera system, or software only at 12,000 ringgit, because this could be customers who already have a camera system in place, but they're not using it with AI. We also want to think about doing it for smaller businesses and maybe pay per use a lease model at about 1,000 ringgit a month over 2 years or 3 years. Who are the competition in the market? So if you're in the market, you should know that the names like Hiens, Stammer, and Nomron are very popular. So they have been doing vision inspection for years. Normally they will do, in fact, they've been doing it for at least 20 to 30 years. And they are experienced in the rural market. But unfortunately, they tend to be very expensive and unaffordable for SMEs. It is proprietary technology. They're still trying to pay for their legacy engineering that they have to do. And it locks the customers to that vendor. And if you know multinationals, they do not support locally. They always have like a regional expert somewhere in Singapore or Hong Kong, and they have to fly them in, which makes them very expensive. And in this particular area, for what we call AOI, it's only limited to normally semiconductors or electronics. Very seldom you see this kind of AI and IoT technology in other parts of the manufacturing. Impact. This is actually for me a bit of a CSR. To the customers, obviously, we want to improve productivity, we want to improve their ability to do better with the business. But to the economy, what we want to do is create job opportunities in STEM for Malaysians. And we also want to improve the impact to society, because we want to increase the capability of doing engineering within Malaysia. The team is basically me. I have 20 years worth of experience doing enterprise businesses in manufacturing and banking for multinationals. I have 2 of my partners who are actually PhD holders in computer engineering and imaging, and also in robotics. Milestones today, we actually did not start this very late. We actually started only late last year. So far, we have actually worked with 1 customer who wants us to work on their 50 parts. And then we also got signed up with Intel to help us to develop the technology. There's a local partner in Malaysia called ITXOTIC who has been our HPC partner to actually do some of the AI training that we have to do in-house. And then we've got a partner for the actual hardware, the PC, which is ITXOTIC. And we actually did a demonstration to MITI about a month ago. He liked it. He liked the fact that we can actually do it in Malaysia. And we're completing our beta version of the software. The beta version is basically the one that, the software that we want to build is the mass marketable software. So right now, how we fund it is, I'm partnering closely with Uniten, so with the robotics laboratory. We have an ask of about 200,000 for 10%. Our cost of running for 18 months would be about $1 million, and we've already spent 50 million ringgit of our own money in this.
Okay, time's up. Time for the Tigers to tell you their questions.
So you don't have a product yet? It's still in development stage?
It's actually what we did was we had to custom make the product for the first factory. So instead of trying to custom make the product, we actually want to make a mass producible product and services.
Amar,
yes.
You are using camera technology,
Yeah.
correct, as your main driving source of input,
Yeah.
and then you're using AI behind you to power it, so to speak, right?
Yes.
So you got input and then power it using AI. I guess the cameras. I mean, what cameras are you using? Because I used to be in the camera industry.
Right. So we tested a lot. We even wanted to disrupt by saying, let's use the normal Logitech camera and see if it works. It kind of works in some cases. So we went to industrial cameras. So we are using industrial cameras. It costs about 1,000, 2,000 ringgit each with specialized lenses. And that's actually the most expensive, second most expensive part of our unit.
So there are many types and uses for this type of cameras.
Correct.
So what industry do you think that would help you take off? I know you mentioned SME
Yeah.
and very labor-based,
Yes.
intensive, where you have to use them. But so what industry are you?
Right. Actually, I've already mentioned it too fast. It's actually, we're going to start with automotive manufacturing because they have discrete parts. They produce plastics, steel materials. These are easy to detect kind of materials for the AI.
Detect what?
Detect the part itself, and also in the future we want to do defect detection.
Detect the number of parts or the quality of the parts.
We are starting with detecting the parts for them to help automate some of their work. Sometimes they don't really have to see quality; they have to see missing holes or something of that nature.
Okay.
So we're developing that.
Okay.
No, there's part of me that want you to succeed,
Yes.
because this is something we can do.
Yes.
Similar technology. I mean, there are companies in Malaysia that do it for semiconductor and electronic.
Correct. Electronics, yes.
Yeah, electronics.
Yes.
They even won like Forbes 10 best in Asia or something like that. Yeah. I guess the my reluctance is that it's still in development stage.
It's okay. Yeah.
So it's more for me. It's more like maybe too early for now. But it is also be there as may, it's still very appropriate for an angel investor to come in. But it needs to be an angel investor who understands this.
Exactly.
So I hope there's somebody in the audience who can do this. They can give his inputs and very interested in doing this.
It's a bit broad. I know that blasting in MBAN is like everyone.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that within MBAN there's actually some investors who understand manufacturing in the first place, or have actually invested in pre-seed startups to know that, okay, there's a potential here. We can actually build it. We can actually not just cater for Malaysian market, but there's also the ASEAN market who are also manufacturing, and there's millions of them. And the growth of AI right now is already in like $5 billion expectations. So we know that even if you don't do visual inspection per se, the team is actually readily available to do software products for things like traffic systems, human movement, public safety. It's just a matter of, we started with this because there was a need by Industry 4.0 to do something, and MITI started with Industry Forward.
And just give you one example, I think in terms of the camera lenses, like my previous company, Ricoh, we used to have these special lenses and cameras which are able to detect impurities in drinks.
Yes.
As essentially they were doing for Jack Daniels, so when they pour it in, right, they can see the impurities. So that type of technology was quite good. In a sense, you don't need one guy to go and look at the bottles.
Correct.
Or even spritzer for that matter.
Correct.
If you have that, they have not had that technology yet.
Yes.
So if you're using camera into 4.0, using that, that could be one area.
Correct.
If you ask me.
So I do want to target like beverage and what we call non-discrete products where we can do that. It does require a real amount of engineering to develop the AI to understand how to get that.
So I understand that there was a need from a client.
Yeah.
But of all the things that you could have done in the production line, why this is QA QC, right?
Yeah.
So is there a particular reason why that's is it most important for a business that's trying to go into Industry 4.0?
Yeah, so right now the issue with manufacturing is that they're trying to reduce the cost of the human labor. That's not purely because they want to, it's also because the government is actually saying, okay, we're not going to allow you to have more foreign labor in the future. So at the same time, they have to automate because they're now competing with the global market. This is true also for Malaysia. Most of the SMEs now have to go, if it's FMB or manufacturing, they have to fight within ASEAN entities. So if they don't apply new technology to help them improve their QA so that they can improve entirely their productivity, then they're going to be left behind. That's basically what it is.
Questions open to the floor?
You mentioned Unitan.
Yes.
Can I know what's your relationship with Unitan in terms of any technologies that are developed in their labs? Would you own it? Would they own it? And also, I'm sure you know about MIMOS.
Yes.
How would you, would there be any room for collaboration between you and them, or are they a competitor?
Okay, so why I started with Unitan is that by happenstance, one of my partners is actually from actually Unitan. We started collaborating on various things dealing with what we call deep learning, which is the AI that does neural networks. And then we decided, you know what, instead of doing this like on an ad hoc basis, we should just form up with a proper MOA. So I'm actually tied with an MOA with them. I don't use their actual resources. I actually train their graduates in the university. And then we actually support them for their final projects, their competition. They're ready for us to take them in, and then that's when we started working with them to build our models, so that reduces the amount of IP infringement with Unitan. Yeah, but they do appreciate that we as an industry are in their space, so that we can actually coach a lot of their deep learning students on how to do this for industry.
And MIMOS?
Oh yeah, so MIMOS, right. Okay, whenever we speak to MIMOS or about MIMOS looks at, they're not really a competitor because they do real science, technology, but it's not industrial application sometimes. It's actually still about 2 or 3 rounds worth of development and engineering before you get to a final product. So if you speak to MIMOS, what they offer you is an IP of an existing technology, but you still have to spend all this work to get to a final product. Yeah.
But why AI?
Why AI? To be honest, doing AI in terms of development is far easier for us to go across different industries versus just doing for manufacturing. We start with manufacturing because we know there's industry forward. Technically for me, there's easy money here, right? We should be able to adapt into this quickly. But the team is actually able to go across the board with the same platform, same architecture that we're building for any other use cases with AI. Yeah.
Hi.
Hey.
You mentioned you can use it for surveillance.
Yes.
Give me a little bit elaboration which, because not so much on the recognition, but how do you cater jobs in the surveillance industry?
So it's serverless?
Surveillance.
Oh, surveillance.
Yeah.
Okay, so I used to work for Hitachi in Japan. We actually applied this for the platforms on the train stations. So we actually monitor humans who move around and make sure that they don't do anything dangerous. So once we actually understand human movement, we can actually say if they are drunk and they're trying to step across the platform, those are the kinds of things that we can actually use AI to detect before it happens. Or it could be like intrusion. We can actually detect intrusion of people going into your compound. And then we can even detect by color of clothes, by whatever they're wearing, and follow them through a series of other cameras to see where they're going, so we can track that person of interest.
So in your series of doing this, do you meet any lenses guy, camera guys who work closely with you?
So I actually have spoken to High-Tech Vision. They also do have their own AI system. And they are actually still okay about us just buying their camera. We also talked to a Lithuanian company, because I'm also doing it with an industrial science camera called Kurukesu. They have a very specific sensitive camera sensor that allows us to see low light conditions.
All right, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much.